Hi, we're going to talk about how to deal with grief and loss over the holidays. It's very difficult. In all of our 42 years of counseling, this year we have dealt with more grief and loss, I think, in those 40 years combined. I have many widows that are struggling because they lost their spouse. Some lost their parents and their spouse within months of each other due to the pandemic or lack of medical help during the pandemic. And so it's double and triple and quadruple grief. And then we have holidays that are about family and connection and traditions, and they have to face that. Many of them dread it. Many of them hope that the holidays will go away or that they can avoid them. I do say, if this is you, I want you to think of the meaning of the holiday. This is for everybody who gets overstressed, stressed and not blessed for the holidays, for the birth of our Savior, for the announcing of the incarnation of God to man. They get so obsessed with all the traditions, they forget it's a religious holiday. They forget it's the birth of Christ. To keep that realistic focus that it is his birth. And that's what we're celebrating. And that's what's exciting, not necessarily Pinterest or Amazon orders or gift wrap that looks like an advertisement, but the birth of our Savior. And we tell people to read Advent stories, to do Advent work so that they can see and anticipate the coming of Christ. This is for those who have lost, the widows, the widowers, those people who have lost parents or even children during this pandemic and in other circumstances. Now, there's several things that we want to tell you that you can do to help the grief and loss fall a little softer on your soul. And one is, as we've said before, be realistic. And in this case, your expectations are realistic of yourself. If you know you cannot put that tree up and go through that box of ornaments that your wife hand painted, don't do it. Don't do it. Buy a whole nother set of ornaments. Get somebody else to put the tree up and make sure that they don't put those ornaments out, because you know it would be too sorrowful. Those Christmas frames that have pictures of you and her taking trips at Christmas, don't put those out. Be realistic about what you can expect and what you can't expect from one another. The next step then is acknowledge your grief. Ooh, that sounds terrible. That sounds scary. But if you don't acknowledge it, you delay it and it becomes unresolved. So if you're sad, cry. If you feel hurt or in some kind of pain, express that hurt and that pain, because you need to. Acknowledging your feelings helps you resolve them. We say over and over again in Soul Healing Love, you can't heal what you can't feel. And so feeling that grief, as painful as it is very helpful for you. Go through the stages. If you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. If you're depressed, you're depressed. If you're bargaining, you're bargaining. But you can move to acceptance, get help. Number 2, ask for all the support you need. Ask for buddies to go with you to the office party. Ask for neighbors to go with you to the neighborhood party. If you decide the neighborhood party is too big of a burden, you can skip it. But make sure when you skip it, you're not sitting home lonely saying, we used to go to that party together and now I'm all alone. Number 3, plan ahead. Make sure that you know you're not going to be sitting home alone while all the neighbors are walking to the neighborhood party. Get a buddy to go to the neighborhood party with you. And in planning ahead, tell that buddy to ask the neighbors, please, not to ask you how you're doing. You really aren't in the mood to hear, how are you doing, Sally? How are you feeling, Sally? So put a bug in the neighbor's ear to just say, hello, Sally, and not necessarily ask you the sad question, how you're doing. You can do the same at church. If you decide you want to go to the women's ministry tea and you want to do the exchange of presents, perhaps you want to send a friend ahead of you, plan ahead, and say, I'd really like not to have a lot of pity, sympathy, or a lot of emotion surrounding me. I just want to go, and I just want to express my love and care for my friends and try to enjoy myself. If you know you're going to be alone and that's going to be trouble for you, plan ahead for that too. If you do ministry things together, like putting shoeboxes together or going to a ministry to serve food, and that's something your spouse did with you, number 4, come up with something different to do. Create different traditions. I actually have several widows headed for the Bahamas this Christmas. They needed to do something very different for the holidays, and I said, let's think of something very non-traditional. Let's think of something that isn't something that you typically did with a spouse. I didn't encourage anything except different, and I got a call from a gal who said, this is so not like me. I am not spur of the moment, but my daughter and I are going to spend the holidays in the Bahamas. And I said, you'll have a ball. You will have a ball. Poinsettias everywhere. They grow wild practically. So I mentioned this to some other widows who are also heading for the Caribbean for the holidays, because being here that first Christmas can be very torturous. Doing something different, creating different traditions can be very good for your soul as well as family members. Be cognizant of them, but don't hide your grief to protect your children, your mother, your sister, because that then is going to stuff it down in you and cause you a lot of problems. So feel your feelings, have courtesy and regard